Okay, so today on the podcast, we're talking body dysmorphia, eating disorders, all that stuff, and as well as body positivity.
Yes.
And I'm here with who?
Royse the Dame.
Yes. Awesome.
So great to be here with you.
I'm glad you're here. Yeah, we haven't had this yet, and I kind of really want to talk about it.
You haven't had anybody talk about body positivity?
No.
Oh, great.
Actually,
great. I'm the first.
Yes. So it needs to be talked about, like struggling with it, and how do you get through it?
Okay, so growing up with an eating disorder is really tough because food is in your everyday life.
Like you need it to live.
You need it to live. So it's not one of those things you can just get rid of and not think about.
Yeah, like just avoid it.
You can't avoid it.
Mm-hmm.
Like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So for me and for a lot of people, I think you have to come to the terms that you're going to always have an eating disorder, but it's learning how to manage it and learning what triggers it and what doesn't versus trying to like completely heal yourself from an eating disorder.
It's just coping with it for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And something like you own and not.
Yeah. The acceptance.
Like, yes.
You got to accept it. Accept that you have an eating disorder. And then once you accept it, it's way easier to kind of live with it. And you can learn what triggers you and what doesn't versus just trying to be like, I want to be healed from this. Because for so long, I tried to like heal myself from an eating disorder and that wasn't working.
Because there's a stigma with having one.
Yes.
Like you don't want to have one, you know, like you're weird if you do. People look at you a certain way.
Yeah. And also there's this weird thing too, where if you're skinny, people have sympathy for your eating disorder, but not everybody is super skinny if they have an eating disorder. Eating disorders look so different in so many different ways. Like I've been really skinny and I've been my size now. I've been bigger than I am now. And there was times when I wasn't skinny where I was still purging and throwing up and you know, doing all that stuff. And it could be from laxatives or making yourself throw up. It's just, it looks different for everybody. So I think also recognizing that eating disorders affect people in so many different ways.
Yeah,
you know?
It can look very differently.
Yeah, and like binge eating disorder.
Yeah.
You know, that's also an eating disorder, but people want to just say, oh, you're fat, you can't control yourself.
Yes.
It's also disordered eating.
Yeah, you just look like, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Like if you're fat, people are just like, oh my God, they have no self-control. They eat too much of this and that. Like, just stop. And it's not that simple.
No, it's not that simple because there's literally something like wired in your brain. It's their response to either trauma or how they cope with life. Because binging is crazy. Binging is crazy. I don't know. Have you ever struggled with any type of eating disorder or anything
never
like that?
I think I believe I have, but I haven't been diagnosed with it or anything. I've never sought help because I didn't think I had one because it didn't look like the way it should.
Exactly. And that's a lot of people don't get help because if you're not like starving yourself for like a month, then you don't have like the typical anorexia that people think. But there's still many different ways that eating disorders can affect you and affect your mental health.
Oh, for sure. I want to get into that as well. But yeah, for me, it was I wouldn't eat because I wanted drugs. You know what I mean? And I hear this a lot. Like I hear a lot of similarities with like the behavior, not so much like exactly like the difference is like food and drugs, but like the way we do it, it's kind of similar.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And also you learn how to be sneaky and to hide it and to, you know, like that type of similarity. And it controls your life. It takes over your life. Like, you know, I wouldn't go out or do something because I wanted to go home and throw up. Or I wouldn't leave my house because of my body dysmorphia for like 2 weeks because I thought I was too fat and too ugly to go out in public. And it's like that type of thing where it's just like it cripples your life in such a specific way.
How long did you struggle with it?
I struggled for about 12 years.
12 years. How old are you?
I'm 26.
26?
Yeah. So I started throwing up when I was 10 is when it really started. And once I discovered that, it's just this whole downhill. And then I was just up and down with, you know, I constantly threw up for 12 years, but anorexia kind of went in and out. But the throwing up was like constant. But there'd be times where I didn't eat for like months at a time. And then I discovered phentermine, which
what is that?
It's kind of like, it's used for like a weight loss drug in a sense, but it's a small dose of meth and it makes you not hungry. So
is it legal?
It's legal.
Over the counter?
You can go to a sketchy doctor and get a prescription and they will give it to anybody. And it's pretty fucked up, but that's the thing.
Yeah. What is it? What was it called?
Phentermine.
Phentermine? Interesting.
And I remember I used to get my heart rate would go crazy. It was like 120 all the time, like, because I would just...
Wait, how long were you doing that for?
I did that for about like 2 years, until what woke me up was my aunt died of anorexia. And so...
Do you think it runs in the family?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I think it's literally like a like a chemical imbalance in your brain. I feel like it's something that just you're just more prone to,
like eating disorders in general. All right, let's look up.
You can fact check me on that one.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know for sure. I feel like that's the case, but you can fact check me.
Okay. I looked up the WebMD.
Well, let me just call my therapist real fast and just ask her.
It says off of WebMD, it says signs of an eating disorder. Eating disorders are a group of conditions marked by an unhealthy relationship with food. There are 3 main types of eating disorders. Yeah, it's anorexia nervosa, bulimia nervosa, and binge eating disorder. And anorexia is where you
don't eat.
Yeah, excessive. Yeah, starvation. Oh, there's one called avoidant/restrictive food intake disorder.
Yeah, that one's interesting, because I feel like a lot of like the fitness community struggles with that eating disorder, but no one's ready to talk about that. You know, it's like the type of people who like weigh their food and like they're like, do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Like they're really intense about it. I'm like, that just doesn't seem...
Others could perceive it as very healthy.
Right. But at what point I'm like, is it controlling you and you're not living?
Yeah.
So
what is the healthy way to eat?
What is the healthy way to eat?
That's the real question.
I mean, I try to eat healthy now. That's the thing that's so crazy, though, is when I was anorexic, people would look at me and think I was healthier then, that I'm healthier now, when it's actually the opposite.
Yes. It's the way we perceive it.
It's the way society has told us we're supposed to look. This is what healthy looks like.
Yeah. Apparently, the correct definition of an eating disorder... Eating disorders are behavioral conditions characterized by severe and persistent disturbance in eating behaviors and associated distressing thoughts and emotions. They can be very serious conditions affecting physical, psychological, and social function. Pretty much every aspect of your life.
Yeah, every aspect. I don't know if I can...
Also, do you think it's body dysmorphia that causes an eating disorder?
I think yes and no. I think it can. But I also think people can have body dysmorphia without having an eating disorder.
Yeah.
I think it goes hand in hand. Usually when someone has an eating disorder, they usually have body dysmorphia.
Yeah, for sure.
But I know so many people who don't have an eating disorder and also have body dysmorphia. Yeah. And body dysmorphia is crazy.
It's fucking weird.
It makes you like question reality.
Yes.
Because I used to always be like... told I looked one way, but in the mirror I just see something completely different.
Yeah.
Like just completely different. And then you just question everything. So it's like, if this isn't real, then what is real? It's like I look in the mirror and I see one thing, but that's not real technically.
Yes, because and like, all right, you have somebody else telling you something different. Like, oh my God, you look great. I wish you could see you how I see you.
Right.
But then like, are they just trying to make you feel better? Or is that like, is that the truth? Is this how I really look? The way they're perceiving me? It is questioning reality in a way. It's
weird. Cause then you're like, well, why don't I see that?
Yeah.
And then it's just like this whole, like, what's wrong with me? Am I insane?
Yeah. And then
Am I
all
crazy?
this negative self-talk.
And body dysmorphia is just like crippling.
Yes. I actually recently just had an experience with body dysmorphia, right?
Really?
Yeah, so at the Halloween party, I was in an astronaut costume.
Right.
Our first Fuck the Stigma collaborated event was a Halloween party. And I was in the astronaut costume, and then I had a friend, and I switched into this like sexy Mrs. Claus costume.
Yeah, I saw you looked great.
Yeah, you see?
Yeah.
And I felt so insecure, and I knew how to go on stage later, so I was like, I need to take this off. Like, I feel like nobody's going to take me seriously if I'm wearing a dress for some reason, and I feel like I look fat. I feel like my back knee showing, like all this weird stuff, and I just didn't feel good. I felt truly uncomfortable in my skin, so I had to change.
Dang.
And everybody looked
so good.
Everybody was telling me that I looked good, and I just didn't feel that way.
Oh,
you know?
That's such a bummer, because you did look great.
Thank you.
Do you think like it was like what you see online and stuff that made you feel more insecure? Or
look, I also think it's like I'm not portraying femininity the way it's supposed to be. Like, I'm wearing a dress, but I don't have long hair. I have glasses. Yeah. I'm not exactly like a very super feminine person. You know what I mean? Like with like my mannerisms and such.
So do you feel like uncomfortable when you wear a dress?
Yes.
Really?
And I'm also going to a wedding the weekend after this one. And I have to wear a dress to that, you know? Because it's like a very, like, we're in a church. Like, I need to wear a dress. And I prefer dresses over, like, I don't really want to, wearing a tux doesn't really appeal to me.
Right.
So, I would prefer a dress over, like, that. But I just don't feel comfortable.
Yeah. But that's where it's, like, I hate society that they put such, like, an emphasis on what femininity looks like. When, like, your hair shouldn't matter. Like, you're a woman. You know what I mean? Like, you wear glasses. Okay, you're still, like, what? You're still a woman. Sense, you're still beautiful.
But, this is, like, what... Logically, I know that.
Right.
But, like, I really... feel like not right about it because it's so deeply ingrained and I know that, and I could be that, like, I can change it. I can just fucking do the contrary action, just change that belief in society and just push myself out of my comfort zone, and eventually the uncomfortable will become comfortable. And like I could help somebody else who's struggling with it. That's kind of my goal, but I'm struggling with it.
No, I get it. I mean, I relate to you in the sense of being plus size. Like when I show my arms, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't be wearing this. Girls with big arms shouldn't wear a dress. We should cover up. Yeah. But like, why? Because some fucking magazine told me to, because some guy who created all this, what we're supposed to look like, said so. Like, then I just get pissed off and I'm like, well, fuck you then. But you're beautiful. And I think you should embrace all of that. Do you feel like too, like, on social media, like now with like all the photos and editing, that plays a part too?
Oh, definitely. Social media, it cripples us in a way. It really does, because we're on there all day. The app is made for us to become addicted to it. Right. The notifications, all of that, like they send, like certain apps send you like a notification every other hour or so to get you back on it. All the algorithms and such. And then we're consumed on it. And then everybody wants to be perceived as perfect on social media, so they're gonna go crazy with the editing and the Facetune or whatever, right? And the filters, and then it's like, who even is this person? That's not who they really are. That's just the way they want to be perceived.
It's addicting to like edit your photos and stuff. I'm guilty. I've edited my photos. Just sometimes I'm like, well, if I just like fix this, but then. Why?
Exactly.
Why am I doing that?
Why are we doing it? Why do you really think you're doing it?
Like, who am I actually trying to impress? Yeah. And then we're just playing a part in the problem.
Exactly. We know the problem, we see it, but we play a part in it as well.
Have you ever edited your photos?
No, not to that extent. I've like, switched the colors up, but not like...
I feel like that's not that bad. You can switch the colors. Like, you just make the photo look better.
Yeah. And like I also had like a phase where I was just like that blank screen on Instagram or something, because like I was insecure to post. Really? But, like today my Instagram is like I am okay with it. I just like, I like the vibrancy of it, and I just post it how it is. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's what I've been trying to kind of do on Instagram and my social media. Right. But yeah,
it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard because you're also putting yourself out there in front of so many people. And it's crazy because you never know who's looking at the photo, what they're gonna say, what they're gonna think.
It's just, we're scared of people's judgments and their thoughts, even though we're making up what their thoughts are in our head.
And then it makes me question, I'm like, am I too judgy? If I'm thinking people are gonna judge me, does that mean I'm sitting there judging other people? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. But is that what do you think you judge people often?
I think sometimes I do. I think that's something I also try to work on, because I don't want to be a judgy person.
I've heard like you pick out things in others that annoy you about yourself. I've heard that.
Yeah, I think I do that. I think I do that sometimes. I also think I notice everybody's great qualities. So then I feel like I'm lacking. Yeah. And that's where I like compare.
That could be a good thing.
Like
good saying, I love how honest this person is. I would love, I should try and be more honest.
Yeah. I do try to do that.
Yeah.
But then I also, I have to like love myself as is.
Yes. So how did you, going back to the main topic, how did you start to get out of struggling with an eating disorder?
Yeah. So it was when my aunt died that I realized I needed to stop. Yeah. Because she was like everything to me and probably one of the most important people in my life. And I saw myself going down the same road basically. And I stopped taking Phentermine was the main way. And then started eating healthy. I got into therapy and a nutritionist and stuff like that. And that really helped. But the crazy thing is then I started gaining a ton of weight. Mm-hmm. And that was really hard. So the anorexia was easier to stop because also I was like, oh, I'm hungry. It's kind of nice to eat and have energy. That's when I would say the binging and purging also picked up. Like it would go off and on. And even to this day, like when I'm really full, it is so hard not to throw up and stuff like that.
You said even today?
Even now today in my life, it's like I don't, but there's times where it is still extremely hard.
Yeah, like you said, like you don't like fully ever truly recover.
Yeah. Like the anorexia, I feel like I don't really have temptation to like really struggle with that anymore because also like I felt so miserable and it was so hard to dig myself out of it that I like feeling good. Yeah. But the bulimia is definitely the more hard part.
Wait, so like when you were in your active like struggling with an eating disorder, how did you overall feel? Like the effects? You said you felt tired.
Yeah, well, like I also didn't get my period for like 2 years.
I heard that was a thing that happened.
Which is kind of scary because as a woman you want to be able to like have children and stuff like that, and if you're messing up your period there could be like long-term effects of that. Yeah. And so I felt tired all the time. I was angry. I was a bitch. I was just like, I was not a fun person to be around. And I thought that the skinnier I got, the more people would love me, but it was actually the more people I pushed away. Yeah. And it was just, it did the opposite. It just basically destroyed my life. And I would blow up on my family. I would blow up on people because my hormones were all over the place because I was starving. I was hangry all the time. It was not fun. And I was sick all the time because your immune system is so shot.
Even doing that though, the way you looked at yourself, did it ever get better?
No.
So it was just suffering.
I almost thought I was fatter the skinnier I got. Yeah. I never reached to where I thought I looked good. Yeah. And now I look back on photos, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's actually kind of scary. I was that skinny. And I looked like that. I looked like I was dying. But then I still just thought I was this huge, ginormous person. And it's like, it's so sad to like see that and see that you were that person. And like I would, in the mornings, I'd wake up and weigh myself every day. And at night, if I didn't weigh less, then I would throw up until I did. Damn. Like I was going to do whatever it takes to make sure I weighed less the next day. Yeah. Yeah, it's not good. I used to be able to tell you like how much I weighed in every outfit, and if I didn't weigh a certain number, I wouldn't wear that outfit.
That's so
unless
crazy.
I weighed less, then I would wear that outfit. Just like crazy, like why?
Yeah, it gets obsessive.
Very obsessive.
It is almost what you were saying earlier. It is almost equivalent to like weighing your food when you're just like healthy, going to the gym.
Right. But I feel like people aren't ready to talk about that. I don't want the gym bros to start coming for me because they're also like ruthless. They'll be like, your BMI is and I'm like, okay, leave me alone. I didn't call you out specifically. Yeah. But if you felt something triggering you, maybe you should reflect on that.
It's that stuff that like where people it hits a spot, it hurts, and they like kind of backlash. That's like something we need to fucking talk about. Right. Those are the things we need to talk about. The shit that makes us uncomfortable.
No, because if it makes you uncomfortable, then usually there's something going on in there. Yeah. Internally.
Okay, so you said you started going to therapy. When did you start like trying to get through that process of
therapy?
Yeah, and like working on it.
Well, I have gone to therapy on and off like my whole life because I struggle with depression and anxiety as well. And so I started, but I didn't really take it seriously. I more just did it because I was forced to.
It wasn't by choice?
No. Because I've been to some really dark, bad places. So It's kind of like, you got to go to therapy.
I want to hear about your mental health journey a little bit too.
Yeah, we can talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I found a great therapist, which I think people, if they want therapy, they should go try a bunch of different therapists until you find one you love. I also think that's really important because I love my therapist. She is so great. And so I started working with her, and it's just like teaching me tools, you know, like also when you're healing from an eating disorder, you just got to take it one day at a time, one step at a time. So maybe you try to have a bite of ice cream for your first time and just do that, you know, and do that for like a week, a month. But that's a win, you know, if you can eat a bite of ice cream. Or like, and there's even too, like accepting your weird traits, and that as long as you're progressing, it's okay. Like even to this day, if I do not want to finish like a full thing, like, or else I will have major anxiety for the rest of the night. Like, so it's like, okay, I can just leave one bite and then I'll be fine. There's something left and then I'll be fine. Does that make sense?
I understand that feeling.
and you know, I'm calling that a win. So it's like just those little like things and learning to be proud of yourself for the small things. I think that's what really helped me, is that I didn't feel like, you shouldn't try to feel like you have to do like completely fix yourself overnight, because it's never going to work.
It's not.
It's not like something you can just like cut cold turkey. You know what I mean? Like it's something that's you're going to have to slowly, gradually maneuver with, because diets change, foods changes, your hormones change. There's just changes, and foods in your everyday life. So you just have to kind of figure out what's best for you.
How long has it been since you've started like the journey of?
It's been about 4 years.
4 years?
Yeah. And I feel like these past 2 years have been pretty solid. Like 2.5. I'd say the first year and a half, it was a lot of up and downs. And so that was hard. But when I really knew I got a lot better is when I was living by myself, and I didn't completely just like fall back into that. Yeah. So it was like a good test. I was like, okay, I've actually like really established some strength here. And also like working out and eating healthy helps so much. Like, I know that sounds like weird in a way, but it's like, it's almost a way where you can feel like you're still in control, because with an eating disorder, you want to be in control all the time. Like it's just like, it's a sense of control that you have. Yes. And so it kind of feels like I can still control, but in a healthy way. So it's like almost just switching lanes a little bit. It's like it's still kind of like, I can still kind of there, but just like in a good way. And I feel like that helps. So like, but you also have to be careful, because there are times people just go insane with the working out and will do like two-hour workouts a day and completely destroy their bodies. Like, so like
you have to find that balance.
Yeah, it's all about balance. Yeah. But you just gotta try, and whatever way in the right direction, you should be proud of that, no matter what it is.
For sure. That sparked a thought. What you said, like people do it for like control, and it is like, say like you experience a trauma where you just felt completely out of control. In a way, you just like move to food, like, okay, now I can control this. This is the one thing I can control in my life, and this is how I'm gonna cope. Right. That's like how it goes for some people, and that's how it starts. Yeah. I definitely think that's played a huge part, and because I was sexually assaulted, and that's when it got really bad, because I just wanted to be in control. I wanted to have something in my life that I could control, because I felt so helpless, and I loved the feeling of being empty after that. Weird, right? Yeah. I just loved like feeling like there was nothing in me, in a sense. Yeah. Weird. I relate to that feeling, but in a different way. Yeah? For sure. In what way? I didn't want to be in my head. Yeah. So I took Xanax to kind of completely lose consciousness. Yeah. Yeah. It's weird how it makes us want to just like, you know what I mean? We just want to disassociate. We don't want to do this anymore. Yeah. And there is a sense of when you're like starving, it does, like after a while, it starts to feel good. It's really weird. Like there's times I miss that feeling. It's like, it's almost like you're kind of, it almost feels like you could about to pass out, but you don't. And it's kind of a good feeling. It's really weird. But don't try to feel it. I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah. Just understand my words. Don't try to feel it.
I'm trying to see the perspective.
Yeah.
No, yeah, because say for some people, they like inflicted pain. At some point, it's going to start feeling good to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like masochists.
Yeah. Yes. But yeah, I wanted to hear about your mental health journey.
Yeah.
So you said you've been struggling with depression and anxiety?
Yeah, it's so interesting because I got diagnosed with that all when I was pretty young. I was like in 7th grade, and how it was figured out that I had anxiety is I would hyperventilate and pass out. And so at first they didn't know what was wrong with me. I was in the hospital for like a week, and they're like, "Oh, you have anxiety."
Oh,
great.
That's crazy. Anxiety led you to the hospital?
Yeah, it led me to the hospital.
Yeah.
And so if I get like, my panic attacks would be so bad that I would just like start hyperventilating and then just pass out and be out for like 5 minutes. And my poor mother thought I was like dead or something. Yeah. So they didn't know if something was like really wrong with me, but it turns out it was just anxiety. So I got diagnosed that young. How old? I was probably about like 12. I started throwing up before that, but yeah, somewhere around then. So I started managing that, and then I started getting into like self-harm and stuff like that.
Around that same age?
Yeah, pretty close. Probably when I was about 13. And I struggled with self-harm up until pretty much my eating disorder.
I want to talk about self-harm as well.
Let's talk about it.
Because someone's view might be of it like, why would you constantly want to hurt yourself and like see yourself bleed and leave scars on your body? Why would you put yourself through that pain?
It just felt so good. It was like for a moment there was just a release of all the built up feelings inside. It was just like I could just finally like feel relaxed after, which was so interesting. And I think there's also a lot of stigma around self-harm.
There's a huge stigma.
Because when I was younger, what made it worse is I used to bite myself when I was little, which was me harming myself, but I just didn't know what I was doing. I would just get so angry that I would like bite my own arms, which is so fucking weird, but you know, it would happen. So when I first started like cutting myself, I would cut on my arms. But then because people eventually saw it on accident, and then people would say you were doing that for attention. And so then...
Yeah, it's that thing.
Yeah.
You're doing it for attention. Why would you do it somewhere where it's visible? Hide it.
And I was like, okay, fine, I'll hide it.
Yeah.
And I think that almost made it even worse. It made everything worse, because then I felt like any of my problems, people would think I was doing it for attention. So I felt like I could never go to anybody or talk to anybody about it, because they just thought I was doing it for attention, is what I thought they would believe. So like never tell anybody, you know, that they're doing anything for attention. Makes them just like shell up.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really important that when people come to you about something like that, or if you see something like that, like just know someone's struggling, that it's not for attention. It's giving them a release, in my opinion.
Yeah. Referring to self-harm?
Yeah. Referring to self-harm.
Yeah.
It was just like a nice like... But now too, I honestly think, not to be back to working out really does help. Yeah. The endorphins that I feel, because I don't know, maybe you can Google it. Does self-harm give you endorphins or something?
I think it does.
You think it does?
I think there's like actual research on self-harm. Yeah, it says triggering endorphin release. It doesn't say which ones.
But it does release endorphins.
Yes, it does relief and triggering the endorphin release. Endorphins are chemicals released in the brain. They have many different effects, but seem to help people relax think.
That's what I'm saying. It sounds so weird, but it helps you relax.
Yeah, and think clearly, as well as diminishing the impact of negative emotions. Interestingly, they also seem to reduce pain and have been called the body's natural painkillers. Physical injury triggers endorphin release, so it is possible that people who self-harm are discovering the way that endorphins really do help decrease their emotions and help them to relax. It's truly a way of coping.
Yeah. And I feel like from working out, it gives me, in a way, the same feeling, but in a healthy way. So basically, I'm saying I love working out. For that reason. For that reason alone.
I love it when I get in that like morning routine of like, okay, I'm getting up at like 6, 7 in the morning, going to the gym. I feel so good after.
Good.
You dread
Not
it getting
6 and
there.
7 in the morning, but like more like 11 for me. But
yeah.
But yes, I know what you mean. You feel so good.
You feel so good after, and like when you work out, you like already feel like, damn, also like I look good.
Yes. After one day, you're like, I'm hot. Shit. I look good.
Yeah. It's crazy. It works. And I also read something on that. Like I saw a video or something where you already feel better after like your first workout.
Oh, yeah.
And you perceive your body to look different. Yeah.
You just have more respect for your body, I think, too. Because you're like, look what my body can do.
Yeah.
Did you see those Bulgarian split squats?
Yeah. Aren't you, so you said you're a big body positivity person. How do you go about that? How do you...
I think just being myself.
Yeah.
I know that sounds weird, but my body and how I look is not like the societal norm, but I still continue to like be myself, and I'm going to make music, and I'm going to model, and I'm going to do what I want to do and love myself. And I feel like that's all the body positivity is that people should love their bodies, even if it doesn't look the way society wants it to look.
Yeah. And doing it unapologetically.
Yeah. Why is that hard to say? I'm unapologetically going to show off my body.
Yes.
Like, I don't care.
Yes.
I'm going to wear short sleeves. I'm not doing that right now because it's like 40 degrees outside.
Yes. It's actually really cold.
It's really cold. But, you know, I'm going to show off my body because my body's been through so much. It's time that I start loving it.
Our bodies are just beautiful, wonderful, crazy mechanisms that go through so much. They like, they heal, it heals them.
It heals itself? It's like, yeah.
Our bodies heal itself.
Yes.
And it's fucking crazy. And a lot of us do like, at times take it for granted, don't think about it. And then like, when we're like, oh, you know, I should actually appreciate this right now. No matter if the way it looks.
Right. Because it doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
It really doesn't matter. You should be able to love your body and love the skin you're in because it's your body. You only get one of them. And I'm like, I'm not that old, but the older I get, I'm like, I'm so sorry. I did that to you. I didn't appreciate you when you were younger.
Yeah.
Because it's
the thing that you're doing it now.
Yes, I'm doing it now.
That's the part.
I'm not going to like look back on old photos and be like, dang, I didn't realize. Like, I'm going to love myself now.
Yes.
And I know it's hard. Society makes it so hard to love our bodies too. So, but you just got to do it one day at a time. Fall in love with yourself.
Yeah. Like my thing with like wearing a dress. I feel insecure about my arms.
Really?
I think I have really hairy arms because I shaved my arms as a kid. And then I never shaved them again. And
okay,
like,
they're not that hairy.
But they're hairy.
Everybody
they're
has
than, like,
hair.
A normal woman's arms. I compare it to every other girl's arms, right?
I feel like they're not that hairy. Okay, but let's say that they were. Let's say that they were hairy. You should show off your arms. You have beautiful arms. Hair is also beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't know why we're told that we can't grow hair places.
That's another thing.
It's natural.
Yes.
It's literally natural to have hair. But we're told that it doesn't look good.
Yeah, like we can't have armpit hair.
No.
Are you crazy? Women are not supposed to have armpit hair.
How dare you have hair on your armpit where it grows naturally?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And then there's like, there's that movement of people not shaving and people are fucking just shitting on them.
Yeah, and I'm like, why?
It's ridiculous. And I give so much props to them because they're going against the stigma.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
No, I wish I was as brave as
Me
them.
too.
I still shave my
hair
hair.
yet. I love that you're doing it. I support.
Because also just like let people do what they want to do. Why do people have to like
why does it have to be a certain way, right or wrong?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. If someone wants to grow out their armpit hair, let them.
Yeah.
What is it doing to you? You don't have to do it. And you don't have to date someone who does it.
Yeah.
Just if someone else wants to grow it out, let them grow it out. It's really so stupid. Because people get like death threats over it.
What?
Yes.
Death threats?
Yes, over armpit hair.
That's fucking crazy.
It's insane. I'm like, why does that make you so mad?
It's fucking crazy. People get so mad when somebody's going against the stigma. It's like true anger and they want to result to violence.
It's really weird. I'm like, and also why violence? Like, why can't we have a conversation about it?
Let's have a conversation about it.
Let's talk about it. And we can agree to
How about you come on the podcast?
Yeah, come on the podcast.
You can yell at me right here.
Just don't kill me.
Yeah. We'll pat you down before you come in.
Yeah, just get like some security or something. No, it's crazy how people just get so angry. Like even like a lot of plus size influencers and people like that, they get death threats on the daily. Literally for just living their lives. Anyway, I get like hate comments sometimes and stuff, but
does that have an effect on your mental health?
Not that much.
Yeah.
It when it's strangers, I don't really care. I get more affected if it's people I know or something like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or someone like I know.
Like I actually kind of know the personality behind you. If it's just like a stranger, it's like you could be, you could not exist and I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I'm like, I really don't care. Like, okay, you think that. But if it's someone who like I know, like if I hear someone said something about me, that affects me. Does that make sense? Like someone that I know. I'm like, well, that's just, you know me personally.
Yeah.
And say that. But like the online comments, no. I did one video like of singing and I don't know why. It was like a Christmas cover. And I feel like it was pretty good, but I got so many hate comments. It was insane. I think like there was 100 people saying how I was the worst singer alive.
Damn.
But there's also some good ones. But it was like my first like
ever.
And that did hurt a little bit. That one did hurt. But not as much as if it's someone like I know or something like that.
We get a lot of hate comments on our podcast.
Do you really?
Yeah.
You get hate on this podcast?
Yeah, on Fuck the Stigma.
Why? Why are they hating on Fuck the Stigma? That's why I had to ask. I'm like, why would people, what's there to hate?
It's more of like, what's there not to hate? People don't like this. Some people really, it pisses them off. You want to read some?
Yeah, please read the hate comments, please. And then we can just fire back.
Okay. There are some nice ones as well, of course.
Okay.
Okay, so this was Brittany Kate. I brought an adult transgender actress, right? If you're attracted to men, it means you're gay. Doesn't mean you change your gender. You'll always be what God made you, not surgeons.
Damn.
Yeah. They're fucking brutal.
Why?
They're brutal.
Like,
because they don't accept fucking transgender people. They don't like the idea of it. You know what I mean?
But then just like scroll. You know what I mean?
No, they want to take the time out of their day to make their opinion known. You know what I mean? It makes them feel good. It gets their dick hard.
It's the only thing they have going for them, you know, for their sad, lonely, miserable lives.
Yeah. This is a nice one. This is a fun one. I am from South Africa and I think you're awesome. I will come to get my tattoo too.
Like, you should have them come out.
Yeah.
Once this podcast blows up, okay, and you're making so much money from this podcast, fly them out there and then get a matching tattoo.
Yeah. Oh, and then they commented on their own. Fuck, I pressed on another button again. Hold on. That's so sweet. It kind of goes with what you were saying. I said, and I commented on their comment. I said, yes, thank you so much. We are down. And she said, fuck the stigma. Also, fuck the stigma of just being in one country. Travel and see the world. There's so many of us globally. We are a movement.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's so great.
I really want to meet this person from South Africa. They commented twice. She loves me. She said,
maybe you guys could do like a Zoom podcast together.
But yeah, it's just like people don't like what goes against their views and beliefs and opinions. It's considered wrong. And they don't want to necessarily hear the other story or see things from another perspective.
It's really crazy to me. It's crazy how people can just like not have empathy for other people or even sympathy. Like you don't have to understand something, but just because you don't understand it doesn't make it wrong.
Yeah. A lot of people don't understand mental illness.
Right.
Body dysmorphia. Eating disorders.
Yeah.
People just be like, just stop, fucking put the food down or whatever the fuck. Like obnoxious things that people might have thoughts of and maybe say.
Well, because it might be easy for you. You may not have a problem with food.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's not everybody. Sorry. So happy for you, but that's not how it works for everybody.
Yeah.
So.
it literally just comes down to like open your ears and your mind a little bit and let's like see what's going on the other side.
Yeah. Which is why I think what you're doing is great. You're having conversations and talking about the stuff that, isn't talked about enough. Like people should be talking about this stuff.
Yeah. And there's so much to cover. There's so much to like see, learn about. I've been learning so much the past month doing this shit.
You probably have.
Like, what the fuck?
Especially do you like fact check stuff, so you're really learning. Which is great.
Yeah, and it's also just like hearing that person's experience with that thing. Yeah. Maybe I've kind of experienced it,
No, you can definitely like, even if it's not in like the same exact way, I feel like everybody has related to eating disorders in some way, especially females. Yeah. We've all felt the pressure. It's
more, with women. I thought you were like going with it's more common with women. It is though, huh?
It is and it isn't. I don't really know if we fully know because a lot of men don't talk about it.
There's a
whole you gotta get someone on who had an eating disorder who's a man, because there's a whole stigma with men and eating disorders.
It's bigger.
It's really bad because like I feel like a lot of women have struggled with some sort of form of an eating disorder that it's easier to talk about, but with men it's like not talked about. But I know quite a few guys who struggle with eating disorder.
Yeah. So it's like struggling with mental health. Is that something you're still kind of working on? I mean, I think it's a daily thing.
I think it's kind of something you just have to work on every day.
Yes.
I feel like, I don't know, as I've healed from my eating disorder, my mental health has gotten better. Because when I was really like heavy into my eating disorder or whatever, and it was really bad, I literally wanted to die because I just felt horrible all the time, and it like overtook my life. So it was just like this, I had this feeling of I would rather die than be fat.
Fuck.
Yeah. And then I gained a shit ton of weight, so my worst fears happened. But it's also like
Is it your worst fear now?
No, not at all. I mean, I still like, I try to eat healthy and be healthy, but it was my worst fear.
Yeah.
And life still turned out beautiful. So, and I do think I'm beautiful now. And I can confidently say that, even though I definitely don't look the way I did then.
You model, right?
So,
like, come on.
Hey, turned into a model, it gets to me that. Now I'm a plus size model. So
yeah, it's fucking awesome.
It's great. It's really fun.
Yeah. And so like you found like a way to manage with depression and anxiety.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I really like think eating healthy and working out helps too.
Yeah. And it's also something that just doesn't go away.
No, it's always there.
It can always creep back up.
There's days I have a panic attack. There's days that I get really depressed, but I try not to let myself go down too big of a rabbit hole, because I feel like it's always harder to pull yourself back out than it is to prevent yourself from going down that road, if that makes sense.
Yes, for sure.
Like when I feel my depression getting bad, I'm going to reach out and ask for help.
Yeah, it's like like learning yourself a little bit more. So like, I see where this is going, and pulling yourself back.
Because when you're younger, you don't really know yourself yet at all. So you don't know what's triggering you, what's making you feel this way, why you feel this way, what's like currently happening that's your childhood trauma that you're now dealing with now. You know what I mean? So it's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
But eating disorders are gnarly. The depression is gnarly. It's
fucking crazy.
I haven't said gnarly in like 10 years.
Really?
I just was like, that made me sound so old. It's fucking gnarly.
No, dude, it's Cali. Like the waves were gnarly. The gnar was crazy.
Gnarly, bruh.
Was there anything else you wanted to put out there?
I think just to love yourself. Love yourself as is. You're beautiful the way you're created. You shouldn't change who you are or anything about yourself for other people.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on today. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Of course. This was so fun.
Yeah, this was kind of
I'm like, can I come back?
Yes, you can always come back.
Great.
Fuck yeah. Thank you.
Yes, of course.